Hi everyone, Julia Sheehan here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Today I'd like to do this little card with you. It's a card in a box. I'll show you what it does. It pops up and I've just decorated it, put a sentiment on it, the other side. Now you probably can tell that some of these products are not Stampin' Up, so therefore the one I do today will be Stampin' Up. This is one I wanted to give my daughter, and the things on it were the things that she liked from what I have, so that's why they're on there. But I did do one with Stampin' Up products, and that's this one. I haven't put any sentiments on it yet because I'm not sure who I'm giving it to. And there's our little pop-up box ready to be finished off with sentiments, and it just pops back down in there and slides in. And I give all credit to this to Jan Brown. That's who I saw do it. I saw quite a lot of people do it. Some of them were quite difficult. This one was done differently, and the box inside was quite difficult to put together. This one, however, is much easier. So yeah, I've decided to go with the one that Jan Brown demonstrated, and I really loved it. So I thought I'd just put it out there for anybody who may not have seen it. Now you're going to need a piece of cardstock 6.5 inches by 9.5 inches, another piece 7 inches by 9 inches, another piece, this is for the actual outside, 10.25 by 7.25, and this is for the outside as well, 10.25 by 6.25, and that's it there. Now I'll just do this slowly for you. You're going to need your scoreboard, and I'll try and put that in a position where you can see it well. And we're going to start off with our 6.5 by 9.5 piece. So I'll just double check I've got the right one. Yes, I do. And I'll just grab everything I need. Now you should be able to see up into that corner. Now we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches, and then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score it at, where are we? Yep, we're going to turn it, have your 1/2 inch margin down the bottom here, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch, like that, 3.5 inches, and 6.5 inches. I'm just double checking all the measurements for you so that I don't do something wrong. Okay, next one, we need the 7 by 9 piece. That should be this one, 7 by 9. And on your landscape side, which is along your 9-inch side, you need to score at 3 inches and 6 inches. Okay, so 3 and 6 inches. And then you're going to turn it to portrait, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3.5 inches, and 6.5 inches. Okay, and we'll do the outside ones later on, so we'll start with these ones. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the scoreboard, and we're going to grab our 7 by 9 to start with. That's the one with like the 1/2 inch margin down both sides, if you can see that there. And we're going to get our pencil and a ruler, And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to draw a little line across this top corner. So within that margin, from where the margin, that first point hits there, just a little one to snip off later on as a mitre. Now the important ones are here. We're going to go down to this one here where the crossover, and we're going to take a line from there, so where that crossed over there, through here where it crosses, so that's that entire square, and out to the edge of the cardstock. So we have to go through that cross, and out to the edge. So just like that. So if you can see that, see how I've gone through there and out. Okay, then we're going to come down to the bottom here, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go from the bottom where it touches the edge of the page up through the cross over there and out to the edge of the cardstock. So right through there. So that's what you should have there. Okay, then up to the top, and we're going to go from the top through this crossroad down here on the side and out to the edge like that. So you should in fact have like a boot shape in your cardstock now. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is get our other piece, which is the 6.5 by 9.5, and we're going to have the 1/2 inch margin down this side, and I'm going to draw a line through that cross there and out to the edges. So just like that. You don't have to measure exactly, it's just to give it a look like that. Okay, then we're going to do a very similar thing from the outside edge there through the cross here and out to the top of the card. So like that, so you can see that. And then down the bottom, we're going to go from the edge of this one to the edge of this one. There's no margins or anything to go through, so it's just taking that half of that bottom square off, just like that. Then we're going to go on the side here again, and we're going to go through from that crossroad, through that cross there and out to the margin. Again, like that. I'll get the light on that so you can see it properly. And one thing I didn't do on the other one that I'll just explain is you can draw a line down from here. It's just a cutting line. You know it's there, so it's not imperative that it's on each of them, but it's just the tip of the boot shape because we are going to cut that. Okay, so our next step is to cut these all, and unfortunately I've only got right-handed scissors today, so bear with me. And we're going to cut along the lines that we've drawn. So trying to keep as accurate as possible, but I do struggle with right-handed scissors. I much prefer left-handed scissors. So just cut along all those pencil lines. Just take you a jiffy. You're probably quicker than I am. And then down through here. If you are a left-hander, you would understand how I feel about scissors. They are so much easier when they're left-handed. Same with cutting knives. I have the same issue. Just get rid of those scrap pieces and then do the other one same way. Just cut along all your pencil lines. Just a little bit off there. Those two. Cut a little tip off of this one. Then down through here. There we go. Sorry if I'm not talking, I am concentrating. I'm pretty sure most of you probably do the same thing. It's hard to concentrate on something and talk at the same time. Okay, so you should have that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to score a line across the center here. Now, some people just judge it. I tend to measure it just as a marker to help me when I put it on the scoreboard. And that comes up at 4 1/4. So I'm going to score that at, mark that at about 2 1/8 there. And same on the other side. Just so I've got a rough idea of getting a good straight line. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Two and an eighth by, just centre that up as best you can and mark it. Okay, so we're going to pop that onto the scoreboard. Just find it there. And I have a black line down here. I couldn't find a red marker, so I used a black one. And what I do is try and get those two markers that I've done fairly well lined up, and just lightly, and it's going through the center beautifully, so then you can just mark it and you've got it going through your center there. And then do exactly the same with the other one. Okay, let's see how we go there. I may not have cut that exactly straight, so oh no, it's going fairly well. That one's gone through the center well too. Okay, the other place you have to mark it is if you've got your line here on your 6-inch and you can see it running down the board, which you may not be able to see it on mine, but if you make, I don't know if I can make it any darker. I'll just run this down again. I don't know if you can see that in the black, but hopefully it won't mark anything too much, except for my hand running down it. Okay, if you can line that up, that black line with the tip of that triangle, then your score line should be down the center. So come down from the 6 and you should have it. There's only a little mark on there, but it's worth it so you can see what I'm doing. Again, line up this line with the tip of your triangle and come down from the 6, and that should be fairly accurate. Okay, now we're going to fold and burnish all our score lines. So just go ahead and do all that, all of them. As you're folding them, see if they're lining up well with each other and just adjust if you have to. If you're better at cutting than me, then you'll probably have them line up a lot better. So, but we just want all those burnished. And the triangle down here. And that one there. Line that up. Okay, so I'm going to get a bit of a black mark on that one. Never mind, that's okay. And then do exactly the same with your other one. I hope I get this all done before the video runs out. If not, I will do a little addendum to it and just pop another one on, so don't feel like you're going to go, oh no, she hasn't finished. I will finish. Okay, and then there, and there. Okay, is everybody up to that point? Then what we're going to do is we're just going to lay these down. And just slide them over the top of each other. And you can see where they fold in like that. Okay, and then we're going to just turn that way. And we're going to get just a small hole punch, about 1/8 of an inch. And if they've lined up well, just what you can do, you can either measure it or not. You need to go in about 1/2 inch and up roughly 1/2 inch. And look at that, I'm spot on. So with those lined up neatly, just punch that spot like that. Okay, now you can take them apart and you can just fold them over like this and punch through that hole so that you've got them lined up. And again, do the same thing with that one. Just find your hole and punch it exactly like that. Okay, so now we've got that. The next step we have to do is to place them so that we have the toes facing outward. I've just got to get this in the right position. Okay, so that's there. So you've got this tip here pointing upward. You've got your 2 eyelets either side there, and you've got your tab here. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue this tab down now and join these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to use Tombow for this because it's a nice strong glue. If you've got fast fuse still, you could probably use that, or some of that red tape. I don't have any of that, but I do like Tombow because it's nice and firm. And then butt those up to each other well and stick that down. And whilst you're doing that, flip it over and just make sure it's a nice clean join like that. I mean, just give it a minute because Tombow does just take a little bit to dry, and we want it to stay a nice and firm. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do, just a little bit of glue there. Okay, now we're going to fold these pieces up, both sides, and then we're going to push this one in and bring this one across. So put a finger there and just bring that over on itself like that. and you're going to do the same this side. Put a finger there, bring it over. It'll virtually do it itself. And bring it down like that. And then we can actually glue these pieces together. So we need to put glue on here and bring this piece down onto that. Make sure that's a nice fit. And it should look like that inside if you've done it right. Okay. If you feel that that's not quite squared up, just move it slightly while you've got the opportunity. That's why Tombow is so good for that. I'm just going to do that. All right. Now we're going to just turn it like that. This is almost like a fish face. Jan Brown says that. She said it just looks like a fish's face. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut. So you just need your snips, and you need to cut not all the way up to the fish face, to the fish eye. You just need to go up in here with a reasonable distance from there, like that, and then cut just a tiny wedge out. You give him a bit of a smile, and then you have to cut from where that is up to the eye, and then you do the same on this side. Cut in, wedge it out. There we go. Smiling fish, and then up. Got both pieces there. Oh yes. Up to the eye. All right. Now, next step is to push that down in the bottom. You can see the bottom of our cube now, and to push these fish sides in like that. So where his head is, just push it in. Okay, and this is so much easier, this one, than the one I originally did. It was so much harder. And I'm using here in Australia a number 14 from Officeworks rubber band. It's approximately, I'll just measure across it here, 1.25 inches. So what you do now is you hook your rubber band down through those slits you made and into the eye, and then across to the other side. I've just turned it because I'm left-handed. And down through the slits again and into the eye. And that's what's going to hold your cube there. See that? And then you've got these tabs here that you're going to glue these to. And it's just a matter now of actually holding these into position while they just dry on there. So a bit of glue on here. And then just lining that up and giving it the opportunity to set itself. I tend to get my little ruler for these sorts of things, anything I do where something needs a little bit of pressure, and just slide it in there so that I can push down on it like that. Just helps to get it to stick the whole way along. I mean, you may have your own method for doing that, but this is just what I do. But just a tip there, if you're worried about it not holding, give it something to push down onto. And then you can just snip that little bit out. Not being right-handed makes it very difficult for me to get that bit out, but I will do my best. Yes, it is laughable, but I'll do the best I can. And then you're going to do the same thing with this one. You're just going to glue the tab, and believe me, this is so much easier than anything else that I've tried, and I've tried quite a few. I was actually quite thrilled to get one like this. It just made such a difference. And then again, you can slide your ruler in there, or whatever it is. You might have a nice slim bone folder, just something that you can push down on to help it stick. I find my ruler works really well though. Unfortunately, I did get some of that black marker on there that I put on to show you where the line was on my box, but we won't worry about that. Okay, now once that's, I will give it a couple more seconds. Now I've cut out some DSP to put onto this, just what I thought I'd like on this one. I actually wanted to do this as a mail gift card, and I might even make it a birthday card. So when you're ready, you just push in. You can see your rubber band in there. Push in that way, and your box will sit flat. I hope my glue has set. So pushing in both ends and push down. Simple as that. And it pops up. Now you've got your pop-up box. And then to decorate that, I'm going to use some silver panels, silver foil panels. And hopefully I will have enough time to finish this. So I'm going to put my silver foil panels on there, and I've made them, I think, 1/8 of an inch less, so 2 7/8 of an inch for the box. I'm not going to put sentiments on this today or any decoration because I don't have a lot of birthday decoration at the moment. I've got a bit of glue on there that's Stampin' Up, and I don't want to do this and not use the product, so I may finish the decorating with something like I did for Becky. Just until I get some of the things from the catalogue. I couldn't afford to get everything, so I just have to be careful and get a bit when I can. Well, I'm sure many of you are in the same position, so we do our best to get around that. I loved the one I had that retired recently, the big happy birthday that I could just cut out. That was really good. That's what I used on Becky's. That's this here, and yeah, it was really good. Okay, and then I've used this beautiful DSP, the new one. It's Silhouette Designer Series paper, and so this blue one is just gorgeous. Oh, sorry, that foil's doing crazy things. So I just cut out some of these for it. I'll cover up that foil so it doesn't make everybody go crazy. And then I think I might alternate and use the opposite side, the darker side. That way when I put a sentiment on there, it's going to really stand out, because I'll do it in either silver embossing or maybe glitter silver, just depends, or even white. Just see what I feel like doing at the time. and who it's for. And what I've done is lost one. Don't know where. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Oh, well, I'll put this one on. I quite like the variation in that though, so... My goodness. Wonder what I did with that. Just a second. Okay, back again. I had to cut another one. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's probably right here in front of me somewhere. But never mind. These things happen. Okay, so that one on there. And I really love this paper. Particularly this Night of Navy. It's gorgeous. And then, so I keep going to tip it over and then realising it'll go really weird with the camera. Just a bit of glue on here. And one thing I have noticed with people making these boxes is that they don't decorate the top. And I like to, the top and the bottom, I like to sort of finish it off. I did with Becky's. And I will with this as well. So I've just cut some pieces and then cut them in half again, and I'm just going to put them onto the top. So I've just cut them in the smaller triangles to sit them on there. And again, you can always slide this under and just press down on it. And then I'm going to do the same thing, flip them over. I hate using DSP sometimes because there's usually beautiful paper on both sides. And it's so hard to make a decision as to what you're just going to cover up. And yeah, I hate covering it up. Okay, and then opposite to the other one, I will put the pattern on. I just think this finishes it off nicely. Just having it completely done right over the whole box. And I was actually surprised some weren't finished off like that. You know, I just think it's just the final part that makes it look so nice. Okay, and then this bit. There we go. And the same with the other end. But I can do that after, and we'll get on with the other part of the box just in case I run out of time. Now with these two pieces that we've got, we need to score them. So I'm going to get the cutting board back up. And on the 10 and a quarter by 6 1/4, which should be this one, yes, we're going to score at, on the landscape side, the long side, 1.5 inches, 1.5, 2 5/8, so just in there. 2 5/8, 5 7/8 up here. Oh, sorry, I'm off, aren't I? There we are. There's not enough room. 5. So I've gone 1.5, 2 5/8, 5 7/8, and 7 inches. That's the outside of the box, and then the little box itself inside, on our landscape side, we're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inches, 8 1/4, and 9 1/4, like that. And then we're going to turn it and we're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inches, 5 1/4, and 6 1/4. Okay, so you've got that. Then we're going to cut. Now on your long side, not your short side, your long side, you're going to cut, get all this sticky stuff off everything, up on your score line, through the first one and stop at the second. Again here, through the first, up to the second. Down this end, do exactly the same. Through the first, up to the second, through the first, up to the second. Then on the other side, so you go to the other long side, you do exactly the same. Up through there, through the first, up to the second, and down the other end, through the first, up to the second, and the same here. So we're basically just making a little box. Now I'm going to cut this first one off. So I've turned it to the short end and I'm cutting that whole first one off on the second score line. And I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to cut this one off. Then I'm going to the far end on the short end and I'm going to cut that one off and that one off. Now the next thing you're going to do is just go around and slightly miter all these pieces. All of them. There. There. And on this piece as well. Okay, then we do that again down here. Just a slight miter. I'll just pause this for a second. I'll be back when I've done it. Okay, now you can measure this bit. About 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch down in that second panel at the end, the short end. Just a sec. Okay, sorry, I just decided to have a little coughing fit then. So in that second little panel, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch roughly, same here, 1/2 inch, and then we, excuse me, going to punch it like that. Excuse me. That's just on one end. Okay. So now we're going to fold and burnish everything. Just to get everything nice and neat. There we go. Same here. I do apologise if I do run out of time. And got all that done. Then we're going to bring this tab in and just glue it. So all 4 tabs are going to be glued in like that onto that panel. So we'll do that first. So we'll do both ends here. Put glue on this tab. Now remembering that you've done a mitre on it, you can't just push it down to the bottom. You've just got to make sure that your actual edge is squared up. So when we bring that in and we stand that up, we have to look at our corner there and make sure that that is straight. And there. I'm sure many of you have done boxes before, so you probably understand what I'm saying here. And that's just so that that will all sit firmly. So you can actually fold that over and hold it so it sticks well. And then just open that back up, put a bit of glue on your tab there, and fold it over and stick that one down. And there's half your box done. Okay, then we just do the same on the other side. Glue on the tab, on the other tab. Bring it up nicely. Fold it over to help you hold it so you don't get glue and sticky things everywhere. And then just push that end in and this end so it's nicely squared. Squeeze it. Those tabs will hold. And you can open this bit out, glue on there, and fold that in. And there's the end of your box done. Okay, now for the end here where you've got your holes, this is retired ribbon, but it's all I had, and I do have a bit of fast fuse still, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to put fast fuse in here where I want to put the ribbon to hold it. You can use glue if you haven't got any fast fuse, or if you've got something else that's equally good, pop it in there. And then what we're going to do, I'm just going to cut a point on this ribbon, and hopefully it's not going to fray too much before I get it through there. There we go. And the same on this end. Just cut a point for it to go through. This ribbon frays quite easily, so it can be a little difficult, but it's working for me today, which is nice. Then just pull enough through like that, and then just push it down into your fast fuse. and then Tombow on here, and fold it in. There you've got your little handle on your box, and then the other end is just a matter of gluing that folding that one in, and that tray is done. Then all we've got left to do is the outside of that box, and that's a matter of just burnishing what we've already scored, and this quite literally is the easiest part of the box. And the last one. And then some Tombow on here. This will be underneath the box. And just bring those together. Now I find at this point it's always a good idea, just while you've got that little bit of wriggle room, just to slide your box in there, just to make sure that it's all actually fitting correctly. There we are. And that way, if that needs to just open up a little bit, you've got time to do it. Okay, so that's going to fit nicely in there. And the more I slide that in and out, the easier it'll be, but it just gives it that little shifting room. And then it's just a matter of decorating. So if my time does cut out, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I really love sharing my cards, and even though I did borrow this idea from Jan Brown, and I really appreciate the fact that she did it initially as well. I'd love to know who the original creator of this was. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit more decorating on here and finish it off. Okay, because this is a mail card, I've decided I'm going to do the Knight of Navy facing up. So I'm going to do the silver first. Lost my Tombow for a second. It's probably lurking with that other panel I lost. So I've just cut a piece of foil to go along the top, just to match the cube. I'll take that off there so it doesn't drive you all crazy. And I'll put the navy side down. Plus I can put a nice sentiment and a bit of decoration on there, depending on who I give it to. So just by having it plain, it doesn't become too sort of busy, especially if it's going to be for a guy. Okay, and then I decided to leave these strips for the side. Now the foil for that was 3 1/8 by 6 1/8, and the cards, the DSP was 3 by 6. Yeah, 3 by 6, and this one is 1 inch by 6 1/8. That's just going to go along the side, just a little side panel for it, like that. And another one this side. Like that. I might actually put one along the bottom like I did with this one too. That one's got one at the very end, so that it's like that. And then I can pull this out, get my cube, push it in at the sides, flatten it down, pop it in, and then when someone gets it, there it is. And you can do your sentiment, you can do whatever you want on it. So there it is. There's my tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, as I said, thank you to Jan Brown. I much preferred her box to what I had done. The other one was very difficult to put together. So there's my little take on Poppin boxes. Anyway, everyone, have a wonderful week. I'll be back again next week. Take care. Bye for now.